Welcome to the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast, the #1 source for proven solutions to all your marketing challenges.
Welcome to the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. Today with Carolyn Onyedinma. On today's episode of the Marketing Boost Podcast, we're talking about the one thing that can really skyrocket your sales without feeling pushy or being pushy. We're talking about storytelling. Joining me is Carolyn Onyedinma, founder of Sold with Stories and the creator of the Storytell to Scale framework. She's helped coaches and consultants raise their prices from $297 to as much as $54,000 and help them connect deeply with premium clients and sell with confidence, all by leveraging the power of their own personal story. If you want to attract high-ticket clients without relying on funnels or constant new content, this is the episode for you. So let's dive in and learn how to turn your story into your greatest marketing asset. Carolyn, welcome to the show.
Hi there, and thank you for having me.
My pleasure, Carolyn. This is a very hot topic for my community. We have a lot of business coaches. We have a lot of direct sales people. We have a community of entrepreneurs with marketingboost.com. And hopefully, I think your content today is perfect to inspire our members to follow you, look for your advice, and learn how they can raise their price. You know, raising prices is one of the things that we all often find ourselves competing to the bottom with discounts. I'm guilty of that as well. I have my offer with Marketing Boost. We're way too affordable, so we need to raise the price. So let's talk about it. How did you become the expert, Caroline, in the helping coaches do is what they do today with storytelling?
Okay, well, I started off as a software engineer, and storytelling was birthed when I would be asked to come out of the lab and translate technical terms to our non-technical C-suite or stakeholders. And the easiest way to get those concepts over and make sure that they were understood so that the software was seen as needed was to tell stories, to break down these concepts. And it went down swimmingly. And I found myself being used more and more as a bridge between tech and sales and shareholders. And that's how my storytelling career was birthed. And I took that when I left my six-figure software engineering career. I took that skill with me into the entrepreneurial world.
So for folks that, sales is always something that many entrepreneurs fear, and yet they can't, none of us can do business at all if we're not selling. Whether you're a doctor, lawyer, candlestick maker, or whatever it is you do, it all starts with sales. If there's no sales, there's no movement, there's no exchange of funds that helps your business grow. But storytelling is probably foreign really to the average, and especially if you're new to the world of sales. But can you give us an example of what do you mean by storytelling to make a sale, or especially when the way you describe it with starting out with software engineering? Help us understand how you took storytelling into that high-tech world.
Well, great. Well, a lot of people dig into clarifying their message. I always say that sometimes when we're selling high-ticket offers that are hard to explain, clarifying your message isn't just, tidying up your bio statement or a one-liner, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. So your message is communicated through your content, through how you show up, through your words, at different touch points in your business. It's not just one message, it's your messaging. And so storytelling comes in to allow that message to hit home in a way that normal content cannot. So I almost see storytelling like an intravenous drip straight to your emotions. bringing their message straight to your emotions, just like we get an IV drip if you needed antibiotics and they'd give it to you intravenously if they wanted it to hit home really quickly. And because we all tell stories, the only difference is telling stories on social media is a little bit different from the stories that we see on screenplays or TEDx talks or, movies. And a lot of people, when they look up content on storytelling, it's very generic. There's not much out there specifically for on social storytelling on socials to drive engagement, audience growth, and high ticket sales. And so there's a strategic way to do that because you don't have 2 hours, right, for somebody to sit down and go through a blockbuster movie script. You're usually telling these stories in like 500-word Facebook posts or Instagram carousels, or if it's a video in a 60-second to 2-minute reel. And so there's a particular way and framework that I have created to allow non-writers, people who are not storytellers, you're not a filmmaker, you're just ordinary service providers, coaches, consultants who want to make an impact. They are able to leverage my framework to turn any mundane moment that they've experienced in life into their own mini blockbuster movie in about 500 words.
Wow. And so, yeah, that's like I'm at a loss for words considering how you can do that in 500 words or less. And why do you believe that storytelling is so much more effective than the traditional sales funnels or, uh, always trying to create new content?
Okay, well, I mean, there's a time and place for everything, and there's a time and place for certain technology in your business. And, if you want structure and all those things in your business, those foundational things, yes, they are good. But what has to happen for these funnels to be fueled with traffic is attention, right? We have to grab attention. And it's really hard for people who have been offline service providers who've, relied on referrals to understand how to grow an engaged audience, not just an audience, but an engaged audience that's locked in this age of AI where there's so much content pollution out there, right? So in the last 2 years, we've seen a dramatic increase in content out there, but a dramatic decrease in attention because we're scrolling past a lot of stuff. So storytelling is a way to stand out amongst the noise, because the way that these stories are structured, they resonate at a higher level. They hook your audience in. Not only do they grab their attention, but they keep the attention and they segue into an insight, something that speaks to their soul, their emotions, their subconscious in a way that most content doesn't, does not, right? Does not achieve. A lot of content out there is teaching how-to material, tips, stuff like that, which is easily forgettable, but stories stick. And so that's why we, leverage storytelling in that way to almost be mini thought leaders on social media. And you become somebody's daily fix, where even if you haven't put, even if they're not following you, they may check in just to see what you have to say on a certain topic because your content is so insightful and impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what makes, as I try to wrap my head around all of this, and I get it, storytelling, but, trying to put it into practical forms that most of us can actually implement. For example, what makes it convert ready? What are the key elements of every story should have if it's going to drive sales? And how does that turn into, helping people go from 297 a month to 54,000? What's the mindset shift? Or maybe I'm asking too much at the same time, but what has to happen to sell a high ticket offer with confidence?
Sure. Well, there's a particular framework. So I like frameworks because it gives guardrails without giving you a straitjacket in terms of content creation, right? So we almost want to be guided, but we don't want to be railroaded into a script. And so my storytelling framework on socials, because we don't, a lot of people will quote the hero's journey, right? And say to you, well, go on a hero, the traditional hero's journey with like the 12 beats, story beats. And that's good for a movie, right? If you're watching Toy Story or something like that, or Harry Potter, or, Bad Boys 2. but we've got about 500 words, okay? And even longer if your story's captivating. But we have, you know, we need to grab attention and keep it. So the framework I use is something that I came up with. And it's 3 steps: story, sway, CTA. Story has certain steps in there, but that's when we start with a captivating hook. Usually something that is curiosity driven, but calls out your audience or calls out your audience's problem. So the right people, right, stop their scroll and pay attention. Okay. And then what I ask people to do is, before they even tell a story, is to make sure that they have the North Star of the story set. Meaning, if you're going to tell a story, right? So imagine, right? Maybe I went to the store, and at the other day I went to the store and it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I wanted to use the ATM in the store. And I was quite scared because it was really dark and everything. And my principle that I wanted to bring forward was preparation, being prepared on time, because I could have gone at 4 o'clock when the bank was open. I needed to pay a vendor and it was late. So the idea I want to talk about is preparation, all right? So that's the insight. And why do I want to talk about this idea of preparation? Because that connects to my offer in a way that people who prepare, right, and people that don't prepare, right, prepare to fail, and vice versa. So why I'm saying that is, it's really important before you even tell a story. I'm sure you're going to have the scroll stopping hook. You understand the purpose of the story. Otherwise, you're going to tell a fortuneless fable rather than a story that sells, right? Because it's almost like a kid when they give you a joke and there's no punchline and you're like, okay, that was not funny, but you laugh anyway, right? So you don't want to come across like that to your audience. There has to be a purpose to the story. So once you understand what the insight is that you want to share, the story takes place. Because the actual story that you tell doesn't have to be anything to do with the insight that you want your audience to understand. So that's why you can take any mundane moment, any experience, but what you're looking for is a theme or an idea in that you want to connect to your main story. So it goes story, and the next step is sway. And sway just stands for section where audience yields, right? And that's just where you take that story and you segue into a purpose, right? A lesson, an insight, an idea that's connected to your solution or your vision or your values or your motto. So you're teaching your audience something, you're giving them some kind of insight that they can take away from the story. And then we move to a CTA, which isn't always a buy this. It might be a call to reflect. It might be a call to take action, engage. It might be a call to click somewhere. But if you have that loose structure in place, you're going to be able to use those building blocks to create immeasurable stories out there that really have the different stages and the ingredients that get somebody to say, wow, this taught me something. This was really valuable. She made my idea. She shifted my perspective. She gave me some insight. There was a lesson there, and you become unforgettable.
Very cool. Folks, we'll be right back. We're going to hear from our sponsor, Marketing Boost. Don't go away. I've got a whole lot more questions. Next, we're going to be talking about the secret to creating a premium client offer that your clients will feel stupid saying no to. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
It's time to wow, surprise, and impress your clients with the most powerful customer draw card available anywhere. The Marketing Boost Solutions Show is brought to you by Marketing Boost, where you can get valuable travel and restaurant incentives to drive your leads from prospects to paying customers. Now you can offer complimentary hotel stays in over 130 destinations worldwide. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com and try it for free right now.
You just heard from marketingboost.com. And speaking of stories, let me quickly tell the story of Marketing Boost. We started this out by accident. We were in the travel space and we wanted video testimonials. We needed more reviews. We couldn't get them. So we came up with a way to offer our clients a bonus vacation while they were on vacation. Again, we were in the travel space. We'd say, if you would go the extra mile and film a selfie testimonial and review of the hotel and brag about the hotel brand and our brand, we'll reward you with a bonus vacation. And that is what eventually turned into what marketingboost.com is today. There's a whole lot more to that story, so maybe one day I'll tell that. But we created a win-win-win. We help resorts fill rooms that would otherwise go empty, so the resorts love us, and hotels. We help business owners like you get high value perceived incentives you can give to your clients for taking whatever your call to action is, referring people, buying more, upgrading, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, you can just wow and surprise them with our other incentives as well. So check out marketingboost.com as we continue here talking with Carolyn about the next up is how do you create offers that really convert? Let's get into that, Carolyn. Uh, you how do you make offers for premium clients where they're almost feeling stupid saying no, kind of like Alex Harmosi's book, 100 Million Offers. But what is your strategy for that?
Well, really, you have to hone into the mouth of the market. A lot of people sell offers they want to sell, not what their audience wants to buy. And your audience is almost telling you indirectly what they're struggling with. And if you can take on the role as a marketing therapist that reads between the lines and is able to decipher what the root cause of their problem is, you're going to be able to structure an irresistible offer that actually sells, not one that sits on the shelf. Because everyone says they have an irresistible offer, but when I ask them how many times you've sold it this month, it's usually 0, which means it's not sellable. It's being resisted very well, right? So we want to make sure that doesn't happen. And then the storytelling and the messaging is what actually allows you to communicate its value in a way that doesn't feel onerous or burdensome or sleazy. So particularly, it depends on what your business model is. But for instance, if you were a coach that wanted to sell a high ticket coaching program, first of all, we have to make sure, even if you want to do one-on-one, that your offer is elastic, meaning it's scalable, right? So it's adaptable, that you can deliver this offer to more than one person at a time. So whether you want to deliver it to 10 people at a time or one person, it should have that scalability embedded in it. So that means that we are looking at a transformational offer, not just a transactional offer, right? And these things, as long as we're selling to humans, coaches, we're just humans helping other humans with their problems. We have to make sure that it has the 5 C's. So one, it should have a curriculum, right? A curriculum is really important. It gives you structure so that you have a designed roadmap, you are clear, and there's clarity on how you transform your audience or your client. So many coaches just get on and they wing it on calls, and they really allow their clients to determine which way they're going, but the clients want structure and they want clarity. So a curriculum gives you that, right? So most people don't have a step-by-step curriculum with a proprietary framework inside their offer. Once you have that, you build trust with your audience because they know that you have a prescribed process of getting results. Second thing is that you want some kind of coaching over the curriculum. So a lot of people just give you a curriculum and walk off, and that's a digital course, right? But you need the energetics of human interaction and impact to be able to get transformation. Because it's one thing to watch a video, but it's another thing to talk to somebody, ask questions, get feedback, get reassurance, and all that kind of stuff, right? And so we need that. And so I say there has to be some element of coaching over it, whether you show up for Q&A once a week, whether you have voice note coaching on top of it. There has to be something that allows your audience to check in, to hear your voice, to get the guidance they need beyond just watching videos, because nobody just wants to watch videos, right? And this is what makes it high ticket, because high ticket is close proximity. That's what you're paying for, the high touch. Third thing that you need is some kind of accountability. And so you don't want to just allow your clients to drift, right? It's not good enough to say, well, I've given them a login and it's on them. You have to help them stick to the goal. So I call that cheerleading, right? So cheerleading and just making sure that people are on their path. Fourth thing is community. It'd be great if there are other people in the same boat on the same journey as you, because that triggers your competitive spirit. Nobody wants to be last. You're able to learn from each other. There's a great opportunity to network in that way, and great stuff. And then the last thing that you need is critique, so that when you are producing your deliverables, somebody is able to look over them to make sure that they're on path, that they're implemented correctly, that you're able to tweak those things to make sure that whatever you're doing is actually working, rather than you just putting stuff out there that hasn't been closely vetted or looked over. So once you have those things, a client feels fully supported, and they're more than happy to pay your premium rate or your ticket, because they understand how transformational it is and what the outcomes are, because your curriculum is really structured.
Wow, very well put together structure there on how to do a high ticket offer. I've never done a high ticket offer myself because I haven't wanted to work that hard at holding hands and cheerleading and what have you, but I get it. But speaking of that, let's hear from Marketing Boost Academy. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ready to transform your business and skyrocket sales? Welcome to the Marketing Boost Academy Masterclass, your ultimate guide to building customer loyalty and driving revenue. Today's customers crave unforgettable experiences, and that's where travel incentives come in. Connect your brand with dream travel memories to build loyal customers who love what you offer. In this masterclass, you'll learn how to generate leads with contests and giveaways, strategies to boost brand loyalty with exciting campaigns, ways to reward customers with trips to Cancun, Bali, Las Vegas, and more. Our program provides step-by-step campaigns designed for maximum results. Week 1, bucket list flash sales. Create irresistible offers. Week 2, just because rewards. Surprise customers with gifts. Week 3, shop and travel to your rewards. Motivate bigger purchases. Week 4, referral powerhouse and reviews. Drive word of mouth and trust with customer feedback. With Marketing Boost Academy, you're never alone. Enjoy group coaching and workshops, Zoom tech support, and a vibrant community to guide you every step of the way. Thousands of businesses are already thriving with our strategies. The Masterclass isn't just a course, it's your roadmap to success. Don't wait. Sign up now at marketingboostacademy.com and watch your profits soar.
So we were talking about community, and we were talking about training and coaching. And folks, if you're using Marketing Boost, currently it's still free. It won't be for long. By the time you watch this video, we may be charging for it. We did launch a marketingboostacademy.com is where you can get free access to our training platform, our blueprint to success on how to use the Marketing Boost incentives in 5 different campaigns that you can implement to drive, generate more leads, close more sales, get referrals, or get reviews and video reviews as well from our Trust by Reviews platform. So go check out the marketingboostacademy.com and get it while it's free, or if you have to pay for it, it's worth the small investment so that you can be a part of the Marketing Boost Solutions community. Our Facebook group for that particular offer is over 1,100 members in there using the platform and learning how to implement incentives. We're back here with Carolyn, and I want to get into the AI and content creation and how artificial intelligence can be used to pump out high converting storytelling content, or is that something we should stay away from?
I do love AI, but I don't love it as a author. I do like it as an assistant or something that accelerates your content, right? So in this age of AI, it'd be crazy to be a AI Luddite, right? And put your head in the sand and say, I'm never going to use it, because it can help us to grow our business, but we have to do it responsibly and authentically. Otherwise, we just contribute to the noise pollution out there on social media and in business. And so how I use AI is to help me with market research, right? Because that really helps you to write stories that touch on the real problem that your audience is going through. So I use AI to analyze the subconscious of what my audience is actually talking about, right? To read between the lines, because it's a great marketing therapist. So it can really help me, give me more insight, so that when I'm writing these stories, I'm actually touching on the deep diving into the actual pain point, rather than just talking to the symptoms. So in that way, it helps you to write better stories, because it's done a lot of the market mining that is quite tedious that we had to do by hand before.
Very well. And do you have any favorite AI tools that you recommend coaches use? I mean, there's obviously ChatGPT, but do you have others that you found that are effective?
Well, there's ChatGPT and there's Claude, but what I say is, I know a lot of people hop from tool to tool, but when you have a goal, you're leveraging AI to achieve your goal. So just hopping from tool to tool, leads to shiny object syndrome, right? So I love using ChatGPT, but I create my own custom GPTs with ChatGPT based on my frameworks. I've trained it with my content to speak in my voice. Now, a lot of people run to GPTs or AI to do that, but they haven't actually developed their voice initially. So they just sound like a clone of whoever their celebrity is out there. And then when they are speaking on video or they're on podcasts like this, there's an absolute disconnect, because they do not sound like their content. So they actually haven't found their voice. And that's why I don't advocate using AI to churn out content, because you're going to sound like everybody else. AI doesn't have your stories, right? And that's why storytelling is so powerful, because it adds authenticity back into any kind of content. Even if it was generated, if you can go back into that content and put your storytelling in there, weave that in, that stops you from sounding like everybody else. So, yep, I like Claude, I like ChatGPT, but I love using custom GPTs that have been trained on my voice and my vibe and my frameworks to create almost like a brainstorming body to create a draft or two, but you still have to go over that and actually put the extra messaging paint on it so it feels brand shining you.
Very good. What's a common mistake entrepreneurs are making in trying to sell their story or sell with a story, and how do you fix it if they're not telling the right story?
Well, I feel that a lot of people, when it comes to their messaging, they sit on the fence and they bring their mask to social media. They're not in their truth. And this reflects with storytelling. So you can always tell somebody who is guarded or who is bringing their representative to the newsfeed, right? People shy away from vulnerability or from TMI, and so everything's always perfect. They've never had any problems. They're exemplary in everything that they do, and people can't relate to that. So I'm not saying that you always have to have a sad story because misery loves company. No, what I'm saying is if you are not able to be vulnerable, you're not able to show the highs and the lows, the behind the scenes, letting people into how you think about certain things, you're going to come across as very unrelatable. And I see, especially in this kind of day and age where we've been told to, fake it till you make it, or, glam for the gram, that kind of mindset, you become boring, right? So I always say to people that if you're brave enough to lead with vulnerability, understanding there's a spectrum between, TMI, where you're like TMZ tabloid and you tell them everything, and then on the other side, you're completely guarded and you say nothing. So you get to decide your level of comfortability around telling your truth, right? Because a lot of people are like, do I have to tell everybody? No, there's different notches on the transparency spectrum, and you get to decide where you lie on that spectrum. But some of the best stories I've told have been when I've been honest and vulnerable about something that I was going through.
Mm-hmm. So the psychology of the sale, and how do you tie in the psychology into storytelling framework so that it actually resonates with those premium buyers that you referred to?
Okay. Well, premium buyers, I usually call them deluxe lurkers because they don't often engage in your content, right? But when they read something that hits home, they take action. And that's why they're premium buyers, or they're advanced and affluent clientele, because they're action takers, right? They know what they're looking for, and they're waiting and wanting to find the right person to solve their problem. Um, so the psychology of that is to always be insightful. It's almost like stepping into being a thought leader around the specialization sweet spot in your industry. And that's why I feel it's important to niche down, because specialists get paid a lot more. And you're also able to speak to what I call first world problems, right? So you're able to speak to the elite problems that not everybody has by virtue of those people being successful, right? So you're not solving basic problem, you're solving more advanced or specialized problems that makes you a specialist. You're not competing with everybody else. And so really what moves somebody to say, oh my gosh, this was the post I never knew I needed, or let me reach out to her, is by you being insightful, by you changing mindset, by you giving your audience a perspective shift. Also, by you not just telling, but showing people the transformation, right? And so if you can give somebody a quick win with your content, and that win might be doing something differently. It might be doing something differently. It might be thinking differently. You're going to be able to do so much more than people that are just teaching how to. So it's almost like people want to understand not just how to content, not just how to think, but how you think, right? And that's where their psychology of storytelling comes in. Is there a powerful insight that leaves that person transformed after reading your content?
My turn for a story. I'm going to follow up on the story I told earlier. When we had this travel site and we were looking for those reviews and testimonials, what we did was we did a survey, and this is something I still teach business owners to do today. We did a survey when we felt our clients were at their peak of happiness, which in our case was the day after they check into the hotel. And we'd send them an email and a text message and say, hey, how's the hotel living up to your expectations? Give us a star rating, 1 to 5. If they gave us a 1, 2, or 3, well, we knew we had to do something. We'd reach out, we'd see what we could do to fix the problem. At least the client was venting privately with us and not posting a negative review anywhere. If they gave us a 4 or 5 star, however, those were the ones that we would ask, hey, would you do us a huge favor and help us spread the word about this hotel you're staying at in our brand? And if you do that, we give you a complimentary hotel stay. Well, that turned into in the end, to fast forward really quickly, after a few years, over 30,000 video testimonials, more than any other travel website in the world. Today, we launched recently, I'm really excited about this new product. We call it trustbyreviews.com, where we help you solicit reviews and incentivize your client to post their honest opinion on multiple different third-party review sites, be it Yelp, Google, Facebook, Trustpilot, SiteJabber, Shopper Approved, and so on, so that you're pushing Better Business Bureau, et cetera. You're pushing these reviews to third-party review websites, which forces Google, Yahoo, Bing, et cetera, to push you up in the search engines when people are looking for you or your brand. If you don't have a constant flow of new reviews, you're going to stagnate in business, and you need to check out trustbyreviews.com. We're back here with Caroline, and we are off to talking more about practical. What I want to ask questions next is on practical and tactical. If someone's listening to you now, joining us here, they have no idea where to start with storytelling, Caroline, what's the first step they should take, other than reaching out to you, obviously, which we're going to show some links in the show notes below. Don't go there yet, but we're going to show people exactly how to contact you. But what's the first step they should take to begin creating their story?
Okay. Well, because stories, sold with stories, is all about stories that lead people closer to your offer, whether it's high ticket, whether you're selling low ticket, it doesn't really matter, right? But whatever that offer is, they want to be sold on your story first. They want to be pre-sold on the offer before they actually have a chance to buy it. When I say pre-sold on the offer, pre-sold on your insights that lead to the offer. So in terms of somebody just starting out and they have no clue how to do this, I would first ask them to make sure that they have an offer, because the offer becomes the linchpin for the storytelling, right? Um, you need to kind of reverse engineer what your goal is. And if you have a great offer, you're going to have different angles of the offer that you're going to be able to relate to a story. But if you don't have that nailed, you're really going to be floating around in your content because it really doesn't have any purpose or direction. So the first thing is you have to get some discipline. I know people love to like move between different offers, but you have to get something that's signature, something that people know you for, something that you can stand by, that can create a name for yourself, and people expect you to sell that offer. Just like if I want to design a bag, if I went to Louis Vuitton, I know they're never full. It's one of their signature bags. Or if I went to a pair of shoes, I know, certain designer stores, what their signature shoe is, right? The red bottoms or whatever. If you want to be a premium coach, you should have a signature flagship offer that people know you for, that has a great name, that has a great outcome. And then that allows your storytelling to flow, because everything leads back to that great offer. And the angles of the storytelling will be apparent because you understand the outcomes. Second thing I would say is, before you start telling these long stories with long form content or whatever, is that you need to grow your audience. And that starts with short form storytelling. So this is why short form is important, because short form builds your audience, whereas long form builds your reputation, right? Because now people start to lean in, they start to listen a little bit more. They start to come back to your profile, whatever it is, to find out exactly what you've got to say. Storytelling can also be visual, right? So it's not just about what you say. We know that social media posts that have a picture attached to it are consumed a lot more than those that don't, right? So we have to tap into the energetics of messaging, which is really important, how your story makes them feel, right? And then don't be scared to show your personality. Whatever your vibe is really important. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. There's content out, there's people out there who will resonate with your vibe, your vision, the way you put yourself out there, your stories, even if you feel they're boring. So I would just tell people to go ahead and just jot down a few things that happen to you every day. And these become angles for your story bank that we can tap into, and then kind of structure how we can turn that experience or something that you experienced today, right? Into a story. That, for instance, today the cleaners came to clean my house. See what I mean? And I had such guilt because, the house was crazy messy and I was trying to clean ahead of them. I would have just noted that down, because it's an experience. And somebody else, it might be like, well, what's this got to do with storytelling? But I'm sure I can take that experience or that scenario and then find a way to tie it to a common theme in business that people can resonate with. So just jot down the mundane things that happen every day and the memorable things. If you went on vacation, if you had a great experience, if you went to dinner somewhere, and put these in your story bank, because down the line, they can become great points to start a great story with.
And interesting. So, how do you recommend? I mean, people carry in today's world of technology. Do you have are there any good tools out there for creating that daily diary or what have you? I've never done that, but I could see the value because you forget some key things that happened to you along the way that could really make for good storytelling.
Great. Well, One of the tools that we have every day is in our phone, right? So, when things happen, I might take a picture of a scene and I'll write a few notes in Notepad on my phone and put the picture there, and the story bank builds up there. I also have something called the Sold with Stories Planner. Um, and I'm giving that away as a freebie to get you guys started. And it's a Trello board with story ideas on it that will help you. But you can also add your own ideas to a board like Trello, or if you use Notion or something else out there that allows you to just um, amass your thoughts in a central place that you can refer back to in the future. So it doesn't have to be high technology. I think we get carried away with the technology. We just need to, if we get a divine download or an idea will come to us, just jot that thing down, because, in about an hour's time, you might have forgotten it, right? But you can always go back at the end of the day. Because what you're really looking for is the insight, the aha moment that comes to you that you're like, this will make a good story. Or, yeah, I'd love for them to understand that. Or this connects to this idea that I have. And it's those moments, it's those areas that we want to concentrate on to bring that story home to our audience. So I always say start with the simplest tool you have, which is your phone. Write a few notes, take a picture, something, because the picture makes the post do better. And then use a storytelling framework to weave that into a narrative that that your audience can relate to.
Super. Let me share my screen again, folks. If you happen to be watching us on YouTube or Rumble, I am pulling up her Facebook page here. You need to go to Facebook and follow her there. Look for Caroline Onyedinma. So you can see it on the screen how to spell it and get there, or reach out to her on LinkedIn, Carolyn Onyedinma, and again, the spelling's on the screen here or in the show notes below. You don't have to scramble. The links to all of these to her LinkedIn page or Facebook page, and to schedule an appointment with her are right in the show notes down below. So let me jump off of that. And before we come back, I've got another amazing couple more questions for you I want to ask. But before we do that, let's hear from our sponsor, Automation Booster. We'll be right back. Don't go away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You just heard from automationbooster.com. If you're in business for yourself and you're not automated, if you don't have a proper CRM system yet that gives you the ability to communicate with your clients while you sleep with email, texting, ringless voicemail broadcasting, if you don't have your funnel builder, everything under one roof, you got to check out Automation Booster. This platform, I've been an internet marketer since 1996, before Google, Facebook, Yahoo, any of that. And I was an email marketer before they called it spam. But I've never seen a platform as robust and complete as Automation Booster for the price, where you have all your inbound and outbound marketing tools in one place for $97 a month. Go check out automationbooster.com and get your business in order, automated, so you're making money while you sleep. We're back here with Caroline, and you've got a thriving brand now and a powerful message. What's next for you and Sold with Stories?
Well, my mandate this year is to bring Sold with Stories to 500 more people than have gone through it. And Sold with Stories is a 30-day writing storytelling sprint. I kicked this off about 2 years ago because I felt that people needed to learn how to tell their own stories in about 300 to 500 words. And so I said, if you just spent 30 minutes a day getting your voice out there, great things will happen in your business. So what it is I actually structured the stories that I want you to tell. So they're not scripts, they're structures, right? That allow you to insert your own experiences, your audience's problems, your own outcomes into these spellbinding stories that convert. And when people went through the sprint, their results were phenomenal. It's almost like everyone came out of the out of hiding on their profile, they had DMs, they had conversations, they had sales, they had opportunities, just because people were learning how to tell stories on social media. And it led to different opportunities. And so what I did after the cohort stopped, I actually went and took the best stories and put it into a product where people are able to write those stories over 30 days, or you can just keep them, write them where you want, but write these specific stories as step-by-step templates that teach you how to write the story in a way that feels authentic to you. And that's what Sold with Stories is. And Sold with Stories Planner gives you, kicks you off with one of the most popular stories, which is called the I Believe bio, which allows you to introduce yourself with a bang whenever you come into a Facebook group, or, you know, your pin post on your Facebook profile, or your About Me on your LinkedIn profile. That first impression that counts. So the I Believe bio story, which is what I gift you with the Sold with Stories Planner, gives you the step-by-step template to create that grand brand entrance story that puts you on the map.
Grand brand entrance story. I like that. Caroline, where are you from? Where's that beautiful accent from?
So I was born and bred in England, London, England. Yep. So
That's what I figured, but I didn't want to assume.
yeah.
That was pure gold, Caroline. Thank you. A huge thank you to Carolyn Onyedinma, probably saying that wrong, but trying to get it right, for sharing your wisdom, showing us how to turn our stories into powerful client magnet machines. And if you want to connect with and dive deeper with Caroline, she wrote the book Storytell to Scale, or rather, she has the Storytell to Scale method, and all of her links are down below in the show notes. So remember, your story isn't just your past, it's your most valuable asset. So use it. Until next time, I'm Captain Marco, setting sail towards your next big breakthrough. Thanks for joining the Marketing Boost Solutions podcast. We'll see you on the next episode of the Marketing, right here below. Click on the next 2 episodes below and watch another show. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Boost Solutions podcast with your hosts, Captain Marco Torres. Now it's on you. Take the next step now. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on how you can wow, delight, and surprise your clients with the most amazing draw card on the planet. So stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty for knowledge. See you next time.